From San Francisco, California, this is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Saturday, August 19th, 2023, and it's 3:33 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. 333, half the devil. I am driving, as you may or may not hear in the background. I'm using the backpack. I'm heading over the Bay Bridge, heading to Concord, California. I have a gig with AC/DC tribute band. The band consists of, as Angus Young, a guy named Dave Chapman. The vocals are by Steve Souza, Zetro from Exodus. Drums are Will Carroll, current Death Angel drummer. Usually it's Joel Proto from the Butlers playing the Malcolm part. Tonight it's a guy named Gus filling in because Joel had surgery on his hand, which is why we canceled several Butlers shows. He's got a problem with something with his hands, and he had to have surgery on it, and he's healing now. Butlers will be back, I think, on October 28th. And I am playing the Cliff Williamson part. Cliff Williams? Is it Cliff Williams or Cliff Williamson? I think it's Cliff Williams. I could be wrong. We are playing in Vinny's at a place called Vinny's Bar and Grill in Concord, California. It's about an hour drive from my house, and it's a little over an hour drive. If it was not traffic, it'd be about maybe 40 minutes, but it's over an hour drive with the traffic. And I'm sitting in traffic now, heading towards the Bay Bridge. I'm expecting it to be packed tonight because we're playing. It's been a long time since AC/DC has played, and Exodus and Death Angel have been on tour for probably 2 years now. And so this is kind of a homecoming for Zetro and Will. We rehearsed on Wednesday. I was not ready, but I've been going over the AC/DC songs. These songs are embedded in my brain, but when the songs are all of a similar style, similar like the Ramones or AC/DC, you get confused on which key which song is in and what parts go where on which songs. Here's our set list. We're opening up with, I don't know, if anybody's coming tonight, come say hi. Look for my red cooler out. If I have any left, I'll give you a Tecate out of the red cooler. Drink at your own risk, because I don't think they sell Tecate at Vinny's. We're opening up with Long Way to the Top, then we're going into Walk All Over You, then Rock and Roll Damnation, and If You Want Blood, You Got It. Then Night Prowler, followed by Riff Raff. Hold on, I got to get merge into traffic here. Anybody gonna let me in, please? Please, thank you. She's not gonna let me in. You're an asshole. Oh, no wonder. The chick. We won't go there. I'm gonna try to stay positive. Okay, Riff Raff, followed by Beating Around the Bush, followed by Jailbreak, then Down Payment Blues, then The Jack, then Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap, then Ride On, Whole Lotta Rosie, TNT, and Let There Be Rock. I am looking forward to it. I like playing in this band. I love playing with Zetro and the rest of those guys as well, but I really like Zetro. That guy makes me smile all the time, and I would be lying if I didn't say I miss those days in Exodus. I had a good time. I would still be in the band if I wasn't kicked out by Gary Holt when I don't know if I've ever told a story about how I was kicked out of Exodus. I wasn't actually kicked out of Exodus. Exodus was dropped by Capitol Records, so the band broke up, and Gary was forming a new band. It was going to be called, I believe it was going to be called War Dance. And it was going to be Gary, Tom Hunting on drums, and this guy John Joseph from the Cro-Mags was supposed to be the singer. And we were rehearsing, and we had another guitar player too. I think it's the guy John, the guy who works with Craig Beerhorst of the screen printing. I think he was in Law's Rocket. So we were rehearsing, we were writing songs and things like that, or Gary was writing songs, and I was in several bands. And one time I came to practice unprepared, and I knew I sucked, but I had so many different bands on my mind. I must have been in like 4 bands at the same time, and Gary saw that I wasn't really showing the dedication that I needed to have, and one day Gary called me up and said, hey, listen, man, we're gonna get somebody else. Come get your shit and bring me back my shit. So that's usually the way it works. I think with Gary, he just calls you up and says you're out, and you know you don't have any say. Gary doesn't. Gary wants you out, you're out. He's the man in charge. So I got the call, and I later talked to Tom Hunting, because Tom Hunting sat in with the Butlers one or two times, and when he was sitting with us at the Great American Music Hall, I briefly mentioned about how I got kicked out of Gary's band. Oh, by the way, I'm going to continue. So I got kicked out, and then about a month later, Gary decided to reform Exodus, and he reformed with the guy who took my place, Jack Gibson. So if I wouldn't have came to practice unprepared that night, I would still be in Exodus, and I'd be touring all the time. But hey, things happen for a reason. But I talked to Tom Hunting at Great American Music Hall at a Butler's show, and I told him, you know, yeah, I know I sucked. I deserved to be kicked out of that band and everything. And he said, well, we wanted you in the band. We were bummed because you were too busy and you didn't have time for us. So that's why we got somebody else. So it made me feel good to sit. Oh, what's going on? It made me feel good to hear that they wanted me, and not because I sucked. Also, Gary came and sat in with the Butlers about a month before the Manitoba tour when we played up in Sacramento, because Gary lives up there. And after the set, Gary came up and said, Butler, you're still the coolest bass player of all time. And he might have just been being nice. I don't know, but it definitely made me feel good to hear that, especially from Gary Holt. So that is how I got kicked out of Exodus. I wasn't really kicked out of Exodus. I was kicked out of War Dance, and then Exodus reformed without your friend Michael Butler. So here I am. I'm on the Bay Bridge. I'm looking into the water here. It's a beautiful day out. It really is. The fog's starting to roll in. There's sailboats out in the bay. I need to take a sip of this iced tea here. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. It's a short episode of the Dog Days because I didn't have time to do one at home. So that's what you're getting today. One more thing, not to rehash that New Hampshire Dick Manitoba stuff, but there's a new development. First new development is there's shows being booked in the East Coast, up the Rhode Island and Boston area and Connecticut, around that area. So if you're up in that area, I believe the shows start around November 1st, and there's like 5 shows, November 1st through the 5th, and possibly going into the 6th. So, and Manitoba said he wants us to be his backing band. So look for that to be happening. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm expecting that to happen. So that's a likelihood that it's happened. The shows are actually booked. It's just a matter of everybody has committed to doing it. I just have to finalize everybody's commitment, but that's looking good. Let's knock on wood here. We knock on the head here. We'll knock on wood. So if you're around the East Coast during that time, I hope to see you, friends, and I will put you on the list if you're a supporter of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. One more thing, there's been a lot of YouTube videos posted of several songs from that tour we did in California. They've been taken down. They have been removed. The message is, these video has been removed at the request of the dictators. So apparently Andy Shirnoff has a real hard-on for Handsome Dick Manitoba and does not want him to continue his career by playing any Dictators tunes. Manitoba sang for the Dictators for 40 years, so he has just as much of a right to play those songs as anybody. Yes, no, he didn't write them, but, you know, Sebastian Bach didn't write the Skid Row songs either, and he's not getting his videos pulled down by Skid Row, if you get my drift. But I don't know the legalities of it, so if you have any videos of any of those shows, please send them to me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com, or post them on Facebook and let me know you did so I can share them. We got I really want Manitoba's name to get out there. He deserves to make a living just like anybody else, and he's not hurting the guys in the Dictator. Well, maybe he is hurting them because it's showing what the Dictators need to be. Dictators need Handsome Dick in that band to be the Dictators. Otherwise, it's a Holiday Inn band, in my opinion. All right, so that is that. Hopefully, we won't have to revisit that negativity, but people deserve to see how good it was. Yes, man. Yes, he's slowed down a bit, but we all have, friends. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you. Hopefully, I'll see you at Vinny's tonight. If you're in Concord, come say hi. And like I said, I'll give you use the secret phrase, I love Michael Butler, and I'll give you a beer out of my cooler. Drink at your own risk. Thank you for listening, friends. DogDaysOfPodcasting.com. You can find this show. That's where you can find all the Dog Days shows. There's a bunch of shows participating in this thing, again, like they do every year. You can find my show, in addition to at DogDaysOfPodcasting.com, you can find it at RockandRollGeek.com. You can find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek, don't ask. The Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, you know where it is. If you're not there, you should be, because there's great rock talk. You just have to answer 2 questions, etc., etc. So I know you're not a shark in the water trying. Okay, enough of that. I spun the iTunes wheel, and a band came up that I know nothing about. They're called The Etiquette, and this song is called Given. I like the song. It's the first thing that popped up, but it sounds like a good rock song, so I'm playing it for you. Thank you for listening, friends. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be doing the Casey 1 hour long Rod Stewart show review. We'll see how I feel on Sunday afternoon. Talk to you tomorrow, friends. Here is The Etiquette.
Time It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.